So hi, I'm on the Good Noise Podcast with Peter Schrupp. We're going to ask him some questions today. I'm going to start, so we're just going to chat about like everything you've got going on. So if you're having a hard time following, it's all good.
No pressure, just all of it, right?
Yeah, just every single thing you included in the email. So what inspired you to start Arms Akimbo and your solo project Holloson, and what do those names mean?
Arms Akimbo is it's a college group project essentially gone right. It just lasted longer than the amount of time, we were just recording for a school project, and then made a band out of it, and just realized maybe we got something here, and then we've done that for, this is our 6th year of existing, which is wild. And then Holloson. Oh yeah, I guess our name doesn't mean much. It's a Freakazoid villain, if you've ever seen that cartoon. Okay. Freakazoid, but it means hands on your hips, which is great. And Holloson doesn't mean much either. Honestly, we were just kicking around ideas, and then the 2 words Holloson were taken. So we were like, people spell shit wrong all the time. Can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Great. I was like, I don't think we have like censorship rules on podcasts here. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, but that was taken, so we were like, we can still make it work. But that was born out of the quarantine situation. I got hit up by my friend Steven, who's produced a bunch of music with Arms Akimbo that we've collaborated with for years. And he was like, hey, do you want to do a project with me and my brother? Because at one point we wrote one song together, and they were like, he said, like, I've always enjoyed your voice. It's very good for this type of like folk pop type stuff. And I was like both flattered and delighted to like work on something outside of my band, because I've been in this band for so long and worked in such a specific way, and it's really nice to break out of that on occasion and work with somebody else. You can just learn from how other people write, and then you can bring it back to your own project. And I don't know, it kind of just like it was a good exercise, especially when I was super bored in April, not knowing what to do with my time. And then it turned into something like that I'm really proud of, and that John and Steven, the 2 brothers that I worked with on that, were honestly just like great dudes to learn from. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Solid. All right. So as we said, you've been very busy. So congratulations on your 2 most recent releases, your self-titled Arms Akimbo and your EP Brighter. How do you feel about the response to those so far? Of course. Yeah.
It's been really, really awesome. Obviously. So the Holloson stuff we were sitting on for a really long time, and we had finished that a while ago. And it's just funny, man. You think like, whatever you put out, you're already on to the next thing, right? Like you put out music and you're just like, let's, I can't remember that stuff. So that's really all we've done with that project. And so it feels fun to like have that as like a focal energy and not think about the future stuff. Whereas like Arms Akimbo, so that EP we put out was the last release that features our full lineup of the 4 original members. So our member Chris, who's always been the other singer in this band, he's left and he's got his solo project that's awesome. It's called St. Christopher. And so that was kind of like a really, in a sense, like nostalgia in real time, because it was our last project that we all worked on together. So the rest of us will still be doing Arms Akimbo as a 3-piece, but that's kind of like the last remnant of the original thing. So there's stuff in there like the song Marble that I wrote that we all sing, like there's like a bunch of different lead vocals on top of each other, and there's like a lot of harmonies. Like it really feels like we got a moment out, and that's all the music that was like created and recorded in this quarantine space. So it feels very specific, but people have been really into it, and it means a lot to me. Like it got put on a bunch of Apple editorial playlists, which is like
huge.
That's
and just like I just really appreciate. And anytime anybody's like, I'm into this and I believe in it. But more importantly, like a lot of fans have been like, this is my favorite thing I've heard from you guys so far. And so it feels good to like have that out, because that's one of the examples of something where it's just been ours for so long.
Yeah.
Well, glad it's all out to the world finally.
Exactly.
So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for those CPs? I would assume they're at least somewhat different.
Wildly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we even go, okay, so the way we work I guess for those EPs, right? So starting with the Arms Akimbo stuff, just because that's much more what I know and what I've been used to. Has always been like me or Chris would bring a song to the band, and then the other two guys, Matt and Colin, would help us shape those songs or decide if they're like the ones that we got to, you know, be putting out. Yeah, they take a long time because there's a lot of finesse. So those songs, honestly, we sat on for a long time. Like I, you know, wrote some of them like while I was on other tours, so that can date things just because I'm talking about tours, right? And so yeah, the process really was just like, it usually starts out either like a loop pedal song by myself that I am into, that I can bring to the guys eventually, which is fun because like a lot of the newer Akimbo stuff that we're working on now is a lot more collaborative early on. Like I can hear my roommate Matt, who's my drummer right now, in his room, like tapping on his desk. So like I'm bringing songs to him way earlier. So that's what feels different about what we're doing now versus like what we just put out, because those are songs that we're so contemplated on, so sat on. And I think that if this quarantine did anything, it made us want to like not just move a little faster, but maybe like get everybody involved a little sooner and stuff. And so that's been a cool new development, but that's the stuff that's, I don't even know when it's gonna come
way
out.
way down the line.
Yeah. But and then the Holloson stuff is so you know, it almost felt like they had a blueprint in a way, because they were like, we want to make this folk pop specific thing. And so I would come into a session and they would already have a drum loop ready. And they would just like play the drums and be like, can you think of anything here? And it's very different. It's very piecemeal. It's very different for me to come in when something is already, like when the train's already left the station. I've always been the one like being like, I think we can go. And then I can like, you know, get the train moving. And
you're building the train from the
right.
up.
Yeah. So to be there on a thing that's already moving kind of feels really, really exciting and new for me, because I get to like participate at a different point. And also the other thing is, I think they've taught me to be a lot less precious about things, because Arms Akimbo stuff is so personal. And so like when we write songs or whatever, like I've definitely been like kind of a, you know, somebody will say they don't like a line, I'll be like pouty or something, because it meant a lot to me in the moment or whatever. And this was more like what rhymes with that word, and then everybody just says a bunch of words and like, oh, I kind of like hire and fire, that's cool, and then we'll just do that and we'll just do it. And like that is, when I say I've learned a lot from that project, that might be the thing that's been the most impactful, because now I'm using that mentality in this project, so I get to have some level of honesty combined with just fucking do it. You know?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you're able to kind of have both sides of the music.
Everything kind of informs each other, I think, in anything artistic you're doing.
Definitely. All right. Can you tell me where Headspace was while creating these two records?
Like I said, I think the Arms Akimbo EP, I don't know if I could pinpoint it, because it was kind of a couple songs spread out, and also a couple of them weren't songs that like originated with me, because it's 4 songs total. Now the 2 that I was a primary writer on are called Dizzy and Marble, and then Chris wrote 2 more songs called Waves and Alenda. Waves is my favorite song he's ever written, and so that felt like one that was like you know, maybe kind of similar, like where I get to participate and add to this thing that's already happening, right? But like Dizzy, okay, so Dizzy is a song that I wrote on the road, and like you know, it's all about, the first verse is all about like when you're home and you got like this like intense desire to go out and play shows to people, and second verse is all about when you're out on the road just being homesick. You know, so it's really like, that's what the chorus, feeling dizzy about the way that I've been losing control. It's like every moment, you know, it's like, I guess it's just grass is always greener stuff, you know. But it's very heightened, I think, when you're touring and thinking about home, but it's like, dude, this is all I've ever wanted to do, you know. And then Marble is a really crazy story, because I read a short story and I was like so inspired by it. I like jumped out of my bed and like started writing this song.
Yeah.
And then I finished the song, and then I went back and read the book, and I finished the story, and it was like way more intense. Like the song I was writing was really sweet and saccharine. It was like this cute little like love story between like teenagers. And then the book ends up with this girl almost getting raped, and the kid kills the guy who tries to rape her. And I was like,
whoa,
wow,
that escalated quickly.
That's so
Exactly.
180.
Yeah. And I was just like, did I misinterpret it or whatever? And then like,
Did I skip a couple chapters?
yeah, exactly. And I was like, nope, that was it. Well, huh. And so I emailed the author of that book.
You contacted them.
I contacted him to let him know, and I sent him the song. And we've been emailing back and forth. He's like, I love this. I'm glad you were wrong. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And now we have like a great little like email relationship. But yeah, shout out George Saunders who wrote Victory Lap, because if not for that, I wouldn't have written the song. But anyway, that's they're both unique, very different, you know. And then the headspace for Holloson was just like, dude, quarantine is a bummer, and we just need something that's like kind of shouted out, folk, fun, positive. Let's not think about it. And it was really nice, honestly, to like, so because I host a podcast as well. It's called Direct Support, and I just interviewed a friend of mine, Lauren, who sings in this band Wild. And now Holloson sounds like kind of like it would be on the same playlist or the same genre as the band Wild, because it's like fun, folk, positive, pop. And for her, she was talking about how nice it is for her new project to like mellow out and talk about her feelings for once. And I was like, that's funny, because for me, I'm just shouting, and they feel like, you know, complete opposite pleasures. You know, I guess it's kind of like Dizzy too, you know?
Yeah.
So a mosaic. I apologize. I think I get to be as scattered as you guys made the interview sound, so that works.
We're just all over the place. It's fine.
It's okay. Yeah, it's good.
So what band or artists influence your music just in general, since we're chatting about all sorts of different projects?
I honestly, I feel like I have my vocabulary, like a lot of the bands that I so like, you know, Strokes, Kings, Leon, that's like why I like rock music and stuff in the first place. And then you get older and you start to get more refined, and like the good fortune of my shows, I've gotten to interview some of my heroes, like Local Natives and Hippocampus, and some of the bands that like have really, you know, I just got a chance to ask them some questions that I've just always wondered about since I was a little guy. So there's that, and yeah, and anything in the indie rock space I'm pretty influenced by, but I'm finding myself like that book story, and like this new song I wrote recently. I literally just like finished rewatching Booksmart, and I was like really the song has nothing to do with the movie Booksmart at all, but it was just like the fact that somebody made that movie or whatever, like there's something about it that made me just go, and I wanted to write a song immediately. And I'm finding myself a lot happier being influenced and trying to make music off the criteria of different art that isn't music, if that makes sense. So like I have my foundation. I know the artists I like. I know that I like to listen to White Reaper and like Frank Ocean and like Porches and whatever. But if I can be inspired by a book or a painting or a movie or a TV show or something, that's, I think, way more fun.
Definitely. Again, it's so cool how, as you said, you just finished watching Booksmart and you just wanted to write a song after seeing that, and then also just reading a book and you wanted to write a song after reading some of it. Exactly. It's just so cool how, as you said, you just get influenced by just different types of art instead of just like, oh, I listened to this one album, I want to write something like that.
Well, yeah, I think that's how you get into the pitfall of like sounding maybe too close to an artist. Not that I still believe that everybody goes through their filter. Like if I try to write a song like somebody, it never actually sounds like them, you know? But I don't know. I think that is, for me, it's been the best way to shake things up. Is it's a little more spontaneous than like listening to something and be like, man, that happens too. I definitely get jealous of, honestly, I get jealous of my friends and I go, I want to write a song like this, you know? Like, damn, you guys get to play that live. All right, what's the
dang?
How do I steal that?
Can we steal that? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's fair. So while listening through your two discographies, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want your listeners to have?
You know, I don't think so. I think they need to interpret it however they will, because okay, so like we're shooting these like new little music video clips for for whatever the next Arms Akimbo releases, which has been really fun. And right now we're recording these music videos to demos. Like we're not even close to putting them out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on a crazy tear right now. We're just doing what makes us feel inspired and happy, and it's kind of, we're being a lot more and proactive than we ever were before.
Okay, that's
but
good.
Our actress who was on set for this video, we like played her the new song, and it's like, I guess medium deep in like in terms of like how intense it is in my head.
Yeah.
And she's like, man, you guys' songs are so happy. They always make me so happy. And I was like, really? Because like it's like sometimes it's just like digging up really dark things to me. And she's like, yeah, no, that's not how it comes out. And I'm so happy about that, because like I don't think that I don't want to be like filtering how anybody else consumes our stuff. Like whatever void it fills for you, kudos. I don't want to control that. And I think that if I did try and control that, it would have a worse result. And I think that the times I have tried to control that, I've been dead wrong.
Yeah.
So as long as they're listening, pretty much, that's all you want. Yeah.
That's very yeah.
Just listen to me, please.
Won't regret it.
So you brought up your podcast earlier. So you've got this podcast. What inspired you to start that?
Listening to good ones. Okay, so the show's called Direct Support. I don't even know if in the many hours that I've done the show that I've really explained it. But like, if you don't play shows, what Direct Support means is when there's a bill, the headliner, the band that plays last, that everybody's there to see, is called the headliner. The band that plays right before them is called Direct Support. And the band that before them is called the opener, right?
Yeah.
And or support. Like the Direct Support just means you get to play right before the headliner. So essentially the reason I call it that is like, this is kind of the notion of like being, at the step right before making it or whatever, or like because I'm really interested in that, the process, not necessarily like the end goal or whatever. And honestly, I just had a bunch of talks with people. My bandmate at the time, Chris, was one of them, who was like, yeah, you should just start it, because all you do is talk about podcasts, you don't even talk about music, right? Like I was saying, consuming other stuff. And like really talking to my bandmates, and they were being really supportive about it. And then also like I remember talking to my buddy Noah, who sings in the band Runner, who's been a guest on my show, and he was like, hey dude, it's been a year and you haven't started that thing that you said that you were going to start.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I didn't really mean it then, or whatever, right? Anyway, so when we got locked in our houses and couldn't play shows, I didn't have an excuse anymore. Now, I will say I had already started interviewing people, and I had a couple episodes under my belt, but that was the catalyst to get me to commit and do the other things, like get the cover illustrated by my favorite illustrator, or reach out to some of those bands I was too scared to send that email to. Like that was, I also think part of it too was like doing the Holloson project at the same time made me go like, it's easier to just do stuff like than to talk about it. Or I mean, it's easier to just talk about it than to do stuff, but like it's a lot more fulfilling when you just stop talking about it. And that was like a new philosophy I had. I was like, until I drop this, I'm not talking about the show anymore. Unless I'm talking to like somebody I want to book on it, because I feel like you get the same satisfaction from like telling somebody like your big potential, like telling somebody about your big grandiose plans almost feels better than just like doing the work, you know? Because like it's potential. You haven't failed yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was really bad for me. That was like the crutch that I was leaning on.
Yeah.
I was just like not accomplishing because it was like, oh, I'm telling people about this thing. And then my buddy was just like, dude, it's been a year. Like,
when are you going to do it?
Okay, fine. And I was like, all right, well, would you like to be like, come over? He was like my first interview. So
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So you've actually, oh, sorry. Continue.
No, I was just going to say, it's just, it's really fun too. It's fun to have another outlet, another medium. It's still music central, but like, music centric.
Yeah.
But it's nice to do it in a different way, or to talk about it, or to have a different thing to release, because I feel like myself included, but a lot of musicians just get wrapped up in like, I'm a musician or whatever label you want to put on yourself, whether that's like songwriter or painter or comedian or whatever that is, right? And then when that stuff doesn't work, then you're like, what's my worth? And that's like the worst. And so I was like, hey, here's another thing. I'm not just one trick pony. But that I wasn't trying to prove that to anybody but myself. Clearly.
Yeah, that's fair. So you've actually been doing this podcast for a good bit of time. So far, who's been your favorite guest to interview?
A lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. Like I've definitely had some ones where I'm like, this is surprisingly good. I didn't think we were going to click this well.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like Dave Monks from Tokyo Police Club.
Oh,
he's like been a hero of mine since 2009. Like I just loved, it was funny, man. I like told him like all the times that I'd seen him live, and he's like, oh, I feel bad. Like you saw all the worst shows I ever played. I was like, it's like that Coachella set. He's like, oh, he sucked. Like everything I said, he was like, we were terrible. I was like, it was good to me, man. I couldn't tell.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, I almost want to look at the list.
I felt that.
Right? Nathan from Hippocampus was a lot of fun to talk to because Hippocampus has been a really good like blueprint for my band career wise. Like they've always been somebody that we wanted to be, like them, and Local Natives is another big one. Like I've looked up to them. All these people who like, I think because I was booking the show and I was like, honestly in a bad way for a little while, being like, what's cloudy? Like, what's going to get me listens? I was like, you're not doing this for listens. Like, who cares if people listen to your show? You're doing it because you now have a medium where you can ask questions to the people you've looked up to forever.
Exactly.
So once I changed my mentality about that, like you can see me, I like reach out to the dude from Typhoon, Kyle, who I really got along with. And I honestly think like going to Portland next time, I'm like going to hit him up. And, and this other guy who I've actually become decent friends with just from like playing shows. And I played in Florida, and Nick from the Spill Canvas. He's anyway, I didn't give you one. I just told you a bunch, but
it's okay. Yeah.
A bunch of, it's basically been like, honestly, like relationships where I can look up to people, kind of have role models or people who've been through it, or like, people who I can ask questions about where I'm at musically is that's the best ever.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? The music, the podcast, whatever the hell else you might pick up in the next 5 years.
Oh my god.
In a better room, I think.
Okay.
A bigger room, just by a few inches.
Okay.
Kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't really know. I think I am doing away with that mentality. I think that so like when I started this band with my college friends, we had goals that we were like wanted to meet eventually. And some of them we met immediately, and some of them took us a really long time. But by like 2019, we'd met everything that I'd thought of. Like we, our last show before we like stopped playing was like opening for Motion City Soundtrack. We toured the US a bunch, and we have made a bunch of friends, and we have people at our shows who sing our lyrics back to us. Like like pretty, I want to say, because it's like, okay, like industry wise and career wise, those are peanuts, those goals. But to me as a human being, intrinsically, all I ever wanted to do was play a show where people were singing things that I wrote in my bedroom back to me. Like that's all that mattered to me in the world. And then to do that on a stage with a couple bands that I loved in my youth or whatever, that too. Like I toured at the Dangerous Summer, and the singer, his quote was my yearbook. Like I use my yearbook quote was a line from his songs.
Yeah.
I got to show him that, and we're buddies. Like that kind of stuff. I can't, that's all my goal is. And that's how I used to think. But then there's a bunch of stuff we didn't achieve. We didn't play like the festival circuit or whatever, or like we keep, because you meet the goal, and then as soon as you meet it, you have a new goal, and you don't even like cherish the thing you accomplished.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm just doing away with that mentality of like having distant goals. I think right now I'm just trying to get, all that matters is like record this song and enjoy it and then put that out, or like make that record that you've always said you wanted to make and release it, or like try and I don't know, I just feel like I will have more quote unquote success by just achieving the things that are in front of me right now.
Okay.
Definitely. I really like that answer. I did. It's one of the best ones we've gotten.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So for the last couple questions, we're actually going to shift away from music and your podcast, if you don't mind.
Delightful, please.
6. We're going to go straight to
I don't want
death
to talk
row.
about music anymore.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus H. Okay, so have you guys been to Tijuana?
I'm not.
Okay. There's I forget, it's called Puerto Nuevo, I think.
Okay.
And that was like a thing because I grew up in San Diego-ish, Carlsbad. So my family would wake up early on Sunday mornings, sometimes like twice a year, and we would drive down. We'd go down and we would wait in a line as if you were like at a Sprinkles ATM or whatever, like a huge line.
Yeah.
And then go in and have it's like lobster and big flour tortillas and rice. And I would have I think I would have it like there. I had an orange Fanta, but if I could adjust that meal, I would have an horchata instead.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love
so
horchata.
Good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So yeah, I guess I'm gonna be bougie as fuck and say lobster.
So true.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. I love that.
So
but it's the nostalgia, right? It's always that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Obviously. So if you could live in one fiction world for a week, where would you live?
For a week.
A week.
It's like I want to say Gotham, but that place sucks.
It does. Why would you want to live there?
Well, I mean, I would want to live there if I'm specifically, Batman or Robin. But there's crime constantly, and it's like no. So let's do away with that.
Yeah.
How many people have said Hogwarts? Like, it's incredible.
Oh
right?
God, like
everybody, right?
Almost everybody, yeah.
I get it though. I mean, I do get it. It is actually fantastical.
Yeah.
And I studied abroad at Queen's College, which is where they actually shot some of it, which is tight.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Anyway, so like the favorite guest thing, I'm gonna give you guys like 20 answers. You guys are really gonna have to edit around this part. This is gonna suck.
I don't.
By the way, I have to do this too because like I do like a lightning round at the end of my show where I ask a bunch of questions that I ask everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the part where people take like minute long gaps.
Exactly. Yeah.
Before they give their answer, and I just it's cruel. It's cruel to have the guests sit there, or I mean, and the audience.
You got it. You got it.
No,
Okay.
I just want to be better than this, but it's Gotham specifically if I am Bruce Wayne's ward. So that means I have access to the Batcave and his mansion.
Okay.
But I'm probably going to be like, I'm going to be rich kidding it and just staying up at the top of the scary hill and just chilling with Alfred.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
you mentioned Hogwarts. I do want to ask, what house are you in?
I'm a Huffle. People told me I'm a Gryffindor, but I'm pretty certain I'm a Hufflepuff. So I don't really know, but it's definitely like the lighter ones, the red and the yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
true. I'm pretty certain I'm a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff is
gotta take
the best
test
house
to find out.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't want to take the test. It feels too Myers-Briggs for me. I think I'm just going off the dome.
It's fair. Well, it's fine. You chose the best house anyways, so.
Well, thank you.
Of course, yeah. So I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to has actually said it is the most important question.
Oh, wow.
What is your favorite color?
Teal.
Solid.
That's a very good color. Yeah.
See, it's one of the top colors.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, as Gloria said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Listen, I mean, I think I essentially plugged for 33 minutes, but listen to the Arms Akimbo EP or the Holloson EP and check out my podcast, Direct Support. And honestly, just go follow Arms Akimbo on Spotify, because we're gonna have a bunch of stuff come out. I'm not gonna say when because I don't know, but once it starts, it ain't stopping, baby. That's all I can say.
All right.
So yeah, just go follow us there.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for now. This has been Peter Schrupp, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.